This is my one-sided piling method, and as you can see, it's pretty simple to explain. Piling one-sided on my left, which is my common area. So I thought I'd describe how I do this one. If you look at this, these piles right here are 8 and 9 foot long. They're about a foot or so past my tracks right here, and that allows my brush to be out of the way and under my tracks. And out here would be the most distance that I'm going to reach to the outside of the tree line. I won't be reaching out full boom, which is way out here, which is way too far. That's, 8 to 10 meters. And I'm going to keep it in here where my speed range is. So the further out I reach, the slower it gets. So if you watch, out that far, it's slower to come back in, and then it will swing faster once it brings the extended boom in. So I'm going to cut everything in front of me, and then on this side, on my right hand side, I'm not going to reach way out full boom like that, because then I'm going to have to bring the tree all the way over. That was why the fishbone method was brought in. The fishbone method, there's two different methods to it. The quadrant 1 and 2 cutting would be everything in front of me to this side would be quadrant 1. Everything on this side would be quadrant 2. So everything would be piled on this side over here, and on the left, everything on the other side. With 4 quadrant cutting, I'm going to start and I'm going to cut everything in the middle here. I'm going to pile it to the side like everybody else does. And then once I'm done piling everything here, I'm going to advance forward. Then I'm going to come out to these trees out here, follow them out that way, pile them back this way, reach out, grab the next one. Pretty much going full boom both sides and dropping the most wood on the trail that I can. Well, I can see the point. Every trail has the most wood. But the point to the harvester is to get as much wood on the ground as possible in a hurry. The harvester is a very high tense job, as everybody else that runs harvester will know. Then we have to keep that porter going, and now we have a big porter. My last video, we got a Ponzi Mammoth, which is 25 tons, and that's a big porter to have to fill. So we're going to have some pressure on us trying to keep that thing going, and if there's no wood on the ground from us, then the porter doesn't have work. The trucks are slowing down, so we have to stay ahead of the game. We're the first guys in the woods, first guys off the stump, and we have to make sure that everything's looked after. So if we're not doing our job and doing it well, it just goes down the line. We got to do a nice neat job. The porter needs a neat job. He does a neat job at the road for the trucks, and then the trucks easily load faster, saving a little bit of time there. And overall, everybody does a nice neat job, and we get the job done well. The one thing that I noticed when I was fishboning, and some people like to do it. I know I got some comments from guys that they like to do it. But the one thing I noticed doing fishbone with this machine is things like, I'll swing the boom straight again. So you see down in here, these little areas here, same as on the other side. I do have a little piece here already. But there's places in there when the branches are piled this way, they come up and go up in between the wheels and go up into where my steel lines of my hydraulic lines are. They're not blocked off well, and it gets up there and you can break fittings off. It can come up and jam. They always jam in the half tracks. It's not a big deal. But the rest of it, where it's coming up and around the boom and the fittings, behind the boom right below where I'm sitting is all the electrical. There's wires and all kinds of different stuff's in there, solenoids and everything. And you don't want to have a stick shoved down in there either, because that is just it's going to cause problems. So you see now as I'm laying my brush down on the side here, it's straight ahead. When I walk ahead, it's going to roll under my tires nicely. And the other thing that I found that held me back a lot with the fishboning was I was worried more about where my tops were after I cut the products out of it. The tops are just garbage. They're going to be put on the ground. They're going to be run over, just junk. Eventually they'll be tilled up in what we call a scarification process, and they're going to be churned up and basically tilling a garden kind of thing where you're planting and everything. So they're going to come in, scar fire, get ready to plant new trees, and let them grow. So that was the other thing as well. I was always worried about where my top had to be. It had to be placed right. If it was placed in a place where it was going to hit my windshield, which is tougher on this machine, but it could. In the winter time, it gets to be an issue, not only because, well, that's a piece of junk anyway, not only because the porters are doing, they're used to doing the one-sided, all the wood's there, they can dig and do all that and find all the wood. If it's on two sides, sometimes they miss wood in the wintertime, which ends up being costly if you have to go back to get it. But the other thing is, when you're fish boning, I know that the idea is to have more brush mat and all that stuff. Great. But as I'm mechanically, like my mind and my hands are mechanically comfortable doing things this way. And I know could be a training thing, that's great. I get it. But as long as I can get the wood down doing this, then what's the difference to me? I'm trying to cut every corner I can, because trust me, as an operator, I'm not sitting here going, I'm just going to do it whatever way, and this is probably the slowest way, but I'm just going to get it done because I'm paid by the hour. I'm trying to get as most production done as I can. What it is about our production, our guys don't talk production with each other to compare or anything, but it's in you to, when you get in a nice stand of wood, you want to cut more, you don't want to screw around and milk it, we call it. You don't want to do all that. You just want to get in, get a good hard day's work in, try to get as much wood as you can cut, and keep everything going. So I don't worry about that with everybody else. I do my own. I keep track of my own at the run of the end of the year. I do keep a spreadsheet where I know my piece size, every block that I'm on, and how much my production is, and all that stuff. So with that, the last thing that I found with the 4-quadrant, you don't find it with the 2-quadrant, but the 4-quadrant fishbone, is that when I'm reaching out to the far side to do my quadrant 3 and quadrant 4, it's very awkward for me because the boom is out there quite a ways, and it's less stable out there with the extended boom full out, trying to fall trees out, pile them backwards. I'm not very neat at it that way. But like I said, it's pretty well full boom out to the left and the right. And then once I get that corner done, so basically, if I'm way back here, I've got quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, and I'm following here, bringing all the wood in. Then I got to come from here back up to over here empty. And then I do this quadrant, turn around, fall that way, quadrant 4. And then once I'm done quadrant 4, what do I have to do? Come clear back up here empty again. The less time I'm coming empty, the less wood I'm producing, right? So we always find with this company, most of the guys here, especially our highest producers, always do a narrow strip one-sided. The porters can produce a lot of wood that way. Most of the time we're having a hard time keeping them going if we don't have enough machines on the site, because we do have different contracts, or the wood's pretty bad or anything like that. But as you can see on my right hand side, when I'm dropping this wood, get my product out of it, then I just release the grip on the tree. I don't even think about where that top is, because I know it's straight right there, and I know it's underneath my tires. So I'm not thinking one bit about where that is. A lot of guys will do it one-sided with a little bit of an angle. That works too. And come wintertime, I find when I'm in, after you get a snowstorm, cutting trees that are just freshly covered in snow is a little more difficult. So if I take this tree right here, I know it's not a big tree, but if I take that tree, when I fall it, it falls into the standing trees on that side over there. And what's that do? It knocks the snow off them. Because most of the time when you grab a tree with fresh snow on it, it comes down off the tree, goes all over the place, creates a whiteout, and you can't see what's going on, and that slows you down too. Probably the last thing that I can think of as far as slowing me down is I'm in a managed stand, and as you can just look ahead of me here, I've got nice clean butts. All of these trees, you can see them, they're all easy to see. There's no brush under the ground. That's one of the benefits of a managed stand. But if I start fishboning, guess where all my tops are? I'll take this small tree, and if I angle that up in there, okay, I'm going to drop it. Now when you look up there and see where my top is, my top's right around the butts of the other trees. So I guess that's something you have to consider too. If you want to have clean butts to clean or to cut, they're easier to grab that way. You can see how close you are to the ground. You can see your saw, can save your bar. Stuff like that are big on my thing. Like, I'd rather have clean butts to cut off of than tops that were laying all through the butts. But when fishboning both sides, you lose that advantage and basically take away an advantage of cleaning a managed stand with clean butts and easier cutting. It's no different than having to fight regen after a while. You got to take the head, you force it down onto the butts, clean it up. Maybe you have to pick it up and move it a little bit where you don't got to fight anything. You can see that it's just as quick. Grab the tree, drop down to where I'm going to cut it, make the cut. Rocks are a big thing too, where I could drop it down on something that has a lot of brush in it, catch a rock, ruin a chain. Chains are probably close to $75-$80 for us. This is a 96 link Oregon chain. I try not to do any damage to them. The one I had on last week was great. I put this one on. The one that was on it was the one I had on it last winter, and this one I put on brand new after the tip went in the bar. Because I think it's probably because it sat at the shop. It went like the first shift, and I put a new bar on, put a new chain on because it marked up the chain pretty bad. And so it's been on there since, and that's the way I like it. I don't want to use bars and chains. Not all new guys are going to do that. I'm not new. I've been doing this for a few years, and I want to try to keep it that way. The more you go, the less consumables you want to use, which reduces your costs. I hope that brings a little more understanding to some of the terms that I was using last week. Right now I'm trying to get things straightened out for this cut because my trail's curve. As you can see, that last couple of trees there were outside of my cut zone. I'm not a robot. It's not to the point where I can do this exactly the same every day. But sometimes theoretical stuff doesn't work the same way as when you're actually in the seat. Some guys can push it, work 12, 13 hours a day, produce great big numbers. Some guys have, they can come in, they run 10 and they do great. And maybe if that's all that's required, then that's perfect. But for some people like me, I have 3 kids. I do a lot of running in the evenings. I play ball too. Our home's lifestyle, that makes a big difference as well. And there's a lot of other things. I actually listened to a thing, I think it was a podcast or a radio. One of the people that watch this channel actually sent it to me and talking about your employees and all that stuff. And if your employees are happy, they're going to produce more. Stuff like that works, and trust me, it does make a difference. If it's an easier place to work, they don't have to come. They're not getting their head ripped off all the time. I've even heard tell of people looking after debts for their operators. That's quite a jump, but guy's stressing out about his power bill and he owes $1,500 or $2,000. He's stressing out, maybe working all he can to try to pay it off, and the boss might say, "Hey, what's going on? I notice you're pretty stressed out. You're ramped up a little. What's going on?" He says it and say, "Hey, well, you know what? Let's take care of that." In a second that's taken care of, this guy performs 50% better than he was. That stuff happens. We all live life outside of work, and there's things that come up that bother us. You know, some things, if you're having health issues, I know my wife's having health issues right now. Sometimes you don't sleep well. Sometimes you're up all night because you're helping them because they're having a hard night. You're taking them to doctor's appointments. There's a lot of stress on people at home, especially right now, trying to just make a go of it. Everybody's got some, things they're worried about. Everybody's fighting their own battles, and sometimes when you get those reliefs on those battles, it helps a lot, and that can make a big world of a difference. I know we had a guy that worked with us where his young son was killed. We all felt bad. It was terrible. We all went down to see him. We took the day off work to go down and be with them at the church with the family for a bit. We also have another guy. Kind of miss him here. He was just young, 30-year-old, and took a stroke on the site running. He was a porter man, and we still talk to him. But man, you know who you are out there, buddy, and we miss you too. And so that's stuff there plays on everybody. The work sites aren't just come in every day. Sometimes the powers that be want to see these great big numbers and great big things, but we do have life that we have to deal with, and we're not willing to give up our lives just to work. A good friend of mine told me one time he works to live, doesn't live to work, and that's the truth. Like we come here, we look after our families with what we do, we pay our bills, stuff like that with what our job supplies, but this ain't what we do all the time. We have a life, and it is not worth it. We don't want to work for 50, 60 years and not see our families, not see our kids grow up. We don't want to, we want to supply the best we can for them, but it doesn't take over our lives. Sometimes it feels like it does, but we're not here for that. We're here to look after the outside life that's here. So yeah, so that's my take on that. I hope I could bring a little light to you guys. I hope I answered some questions. If you do have questions, if you have a comment, leave it on the comments. Go ahead, share it if you want to. Things are going great. The channel's really coming alive here on Facebook, especially. My Facebook page, it's unreal. The first couple of months I've already hit like 500,000 views, and it's gone insane. So I don't know what happened there, but I appreciate it for you guys. You can also find me on TikTok, and I am on YouTube. That's kind of slowed down there, but I post all the videos from Facebook to YouTube too. And so if you want to check it out there, you can go ahead. It's all on Up and Atom. So yeah, hope you guys have a good day. We'll catch you later.